I remember the first night it all changed. It was electric, charged with an intensity I hadn't felt in years. James and I had been dancing around each other all night, the air thick with unspoken desire. When he finally pulled me into his arms, I didn't resist. His touch was firm, confident, and the moment our lips met, I felt something deep inside me break free. It was reckless, wild, and completely out of control. His hands roamed over my body, claiming me in a way that made my heart race. I knew it was wrong, that I shouldn't be there, but I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. We ended up in his apartment, and the world outside seemed to vanish. The only thing that mattered was the heat between us, the way his breath mingled with mine, the way his body moved against me. Every kiss, every touch, felt like it was igniting something inside me, something I had buried long ago. His fingers tangled in my hair as he pulled me closer, deepening the connection between us. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe, couldn't focus on anything but the fire that burned between us. It was like nothing else existed. It was passion in its purest form, and in that moment, I was lost in him. As the night wore on, the intensity never let up. There was no guilt, no regret, just the raw sensation of being completely consumed by someone else. When we finally lay there, breathless and spent, reality slowly started to creep back in. I stared at the ceiling, my mind swirling with the consequences of what had just happened. But for those few hours, nothing else mattered. It was just James and me, tangled together in a moment of pure, unfiltered passion. The next morning, the weight of what I had done hit me like a freight train. I was supposed to be getting married soon. Alex, my fiancé, was at home, completely unaware of the chaos I had just thrown myself into. I gathered my things, rushing to leave James' apartment. But before I could go, James stopped me, looking at me with an intensity that made my heart skip a bit. He told me he had never felt this way before, that there was something special between us. Then he showed me a tattoo, my name etched into his skin. I froze, unable to comprehend what he had done. It wasn't just a fling to him, not anymore. I told him it was a mistake, that we needed to forget about it and move on. But he didn't take it well. His demeanor shifted, and I could see the possessiveness in his eyes. I made an excuse about having a flight to catch and money to escape, but my mind was spinning. When I got back to my hotel, Chloe, my best friend, was waiting for me, completely unaware of what had just happened. She nagged me about being late, but I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that followed me. I soon realized that I had left my phone at James' place. Every important contact, every detail about my wedding was on that phone. Chloe told me to forget about it, that I needed to focus on catching our flight home. But I felt trapped. The thought of James having access to my phone filled me with unease, but there was nothing I could do. We had to go. When I got home, Alex was there to greet me. He was so happy to see me. His smile wide, his arms welcoming. I felt like a fraud. He had no idea what I had done. We were in the middle of planning our wedding, and all I could think about was James and how everything had spiraled out of control. I kept telling myself it was over, that I would never see him again, but deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. A few days later, the nightmare continued. I was getting ready for dinner with Alex when I heard the shower running. I pulled back the curtain, and there he was, James, standing in my bedroom as if he belonged there. My heart stopped. He had used my phone to track me down. He said he missed me, that he couldn't stop thinking about me. I panicked, telling him that Alex was about to come home and he needed to leave. But James refused. He said he wouldn't go unless I promised to meet him again. Feeling trapped, I agreed and left just as Alex walked through the door. Dinner that night was tense. Alex could sense something was wrong. He asked if I was still upset about his past affair. It was ironic. He was trying to confront me for something he had done, completely unaware that I had done something far worse. I told him it was just the stress of the wedding, but inside I was a wreck. I couldn't stop thinking about James and what he might do next. The next morning, I woke up to a noise in the house. My first thought was James. I was terrified he had broken in again, but it was just Chloe, stopping by to check on me. I told her everything, how James had shown up at my place, how he wouldn't leave me alone. She was the one who had encouraged me to talk to him that night at the club, but now she realized how dangerous he was. She told me to cut all contact, but I didn't know how. He had my phone, my information. I felt like he was always one step ahead of me. Later that day, Chloe and I went to pick up my wedding dress. But when we got there, the shop owner told me that Alex had called to cancel the order. My stomach dropped. It wasn't Alex, it was James. He had used my phone to sabotage my wedding. Everything was falling apart. Chloe and I spent hours trying to fix the damage, calling vendors to confirm that the wedding was still on. I felt like I was losing control of my life, and James was pulling the strings. Chloe suggested hiring a private investigator to look into James' background, and I agreed. The investigator uncovered everything. James had a criminal record. He had been imprisoned for murdering a nurse he had been involved with. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an obsession anymore, it was life or death. As the wedding day approached, I tried to focus on Alex, but James was always in the back of my mind. He showed up at the wedding, disguised as a bartender. Chloe spotted him talking to my sister and immediately stepped in. She led him to the back, where a detective was waiting for him. They fought, but James didn't give up easily. It was only when the detective overpowered him that I thought it was finally over, but I was wrong. That night, James found Chloe. He killed her and used her computer to track down Alex and me on our honeymoon. He attacked Alex at the beach resort, knocking him unconscious with a rock. I ran, but James caught up to me, threatening to kill me if I didn't go with him. I fought back, grabbing a torch and striking him, but he kept coming. In the end, I knew there was only one way to stop him. I grabbed a rope and strangled him, finally ending the nightmare. In the hospital, as Alex recovered from his injuries, the doctor gave us unexpected news. I was pregnant. But the question haunted me. Was it Alex's baby or James? I didn't know, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to find out. All I knew was that I had survived, but the cost was far greater than I had ever imagined.